I think that America ought to do everything it can to smoke these terrorist killers out of their holes. Is it good? You got what you needed? All right, now watch this drive. Whack. What's up, ladies and gents? I told you I'd do another one of these. Told you. You were told. What is the haps? What's happening, everybody? Whoa. Where are you at? What took me so long? Nothing. I didn't realize there was a rush. You never lost hope. Yeah, I just, quite honestly, earlier I got distracted and I started playing video games, and that was it. Yeah, I don't eat gabagool. You ain't got to worry about me with the gabagool. All right, I don't eat it. I don't need it. Neither do you. How did we get here? I mean, I don't know. Poor Mickey. Hey, what's the big idea? I honestly don't know. I might end up just moseying on out of this one. I don't know. Hell no, I didn't WD-40 my back door. You kidding me? How am I going to know when people are coming and going? Yeah, no thanks. I like Demon Mama, but I don't want to share my income with her. She'll have to work on that for herself. I love those professional douche videos. He's fantastic. That sounds dirty. That sounds dirty. Don't say that, Paul's ego. That sounds dirty. I just need like another 20K a month and my life would be pretty great. Dude, you and me both. You and me both. Right around that, you know. I'd even like 18 or 19 a month would really put me in a nice spot. Really fucking get me situated. The Liver King. I don't even, yeah. It's one of those manosphere dorks that claim to be natty when he looks like a fucking goddamn freak of nature. Veins busting out everywhere, pecs the size of fucking summer squashes. Give me a break. You're going to fall asleep to my soft, silky, smooth voice. Okay. Enjoy that. Knock yourself out, kid. It's your life and it's now or never. I don't want to live forever. It's all Nat, bro. Roid Beast. Yeah. I mean, that usually is the way it works out, right? There are probably some dudes out there that look, but like if you talk to bodybuilders, if you want to be big, you either have the genetics for it, which is pretty rare, or you juice. It's pretty much how you get there. I want a yacht with a yacht. What up, Papa Zeke? Enjoying myself a nice pre-roll as we sit and talk. I want a yacht with a yacht, though. For real, though, on some real shit. I would like a yacht with a yacht. I think that's probably the biggest flex. A jet with a jet? Nah, a yacht with a yacht is a bigger flex for me. You wish you had weed? Abracadabra. Mecca lecca high, mecca hiney ho. Did it work? I tried. Tried to cast the weed spell. Do you have a crush on Demon Mama? No. What about just a nice 30-foot Grady White to take out to the bay with your pals and family? No. I'm going to need a fucking ultra yacht. In fact, I'm going to be real with you. I want a yacht so big that they have to make a new class because, you know, there was like yachts and then there were super yachts and there were mega yachts. I think Bezos's yacht and a couple other like Saudi prince yachts are mega yachts. You don't want a giga yacht. Okay. I'm going to buy a decommissioned aircraft carrier from the government and I'm going to have it completely renovated into a giant fucking yacht. People can land their planes on it. It's a party on the deck every day. That's what I said earlier, Aaron. I need a yacht with a yacht. Giga yacht. Paul Zigo, richest man in the history of the planet, became the first man to purchase and commission a giga yacht. What is a giga yacht? Paul Zigo's 790 square foot giga yacht is called the Velma. Its eye-catching orange and red paint job mimicking the sweater turtleneck and skirt the popular Scooby-Doo character Velma Dinkley. Yacht with a baseball diamond. Yeah, dude, the whole thing. Baseball diamond, full-length football field, and a full court, full basketball court. Full-sized. I want to hollow out the guts, take out all those like crew quarters and shit. The crew won't need places to sleep. That's what the second yacht is for. Hollow out the guts of that, make like a grand ballroom in there, make I don't know, like have a whole room made out of like fucking super strong glass so that I can see under the water as we're zipping along. Full movie theater. Yeah, dude, full movie theater. IMAX movie theater. All the consoles and a super good PC hooked up to it. Little toggle switcher. I have to call you out, Paul. You say you're 6'2", but at the meetup, I was taller than you, and I'm 5'10". So I don't know if you noticed. You can look at the pictures of the meetup, if you took any. I have horrible posture. When I'm just kind of standing and talking, I'm hunched probably about 4 to 5 inches. When I stand back to back with Scotty's 6'1". He and I are pretty much the same height. You need a go-kart to track on your yacht. I'm gonna have all kinds of planes and shit. I'll have a whole fleet of badass like fucking Humvees and stuff if we want to land and like take some vehicles to the dunes or whatever. I'll have a whole fleet. Yeah, ship AI will sound like Velma. Yep. I'll be like, hey Velma, can you make me up a meal? Oh, Jinkies, certainly. Well, I have horrible scoliosis. Yeah. This has been like I'm fat because my back is bent. You ever wonder where that little meme came from? Yeah, that funny little meme is about my back being twisted like a fucking question mark, bro. Molto bello vederti. Molto bello vederti. I'm fat because my back is bent. No telling when my couch from IKEA went. Yeah, no, dude. I'm in chronic back pain every day, all day. You know, like this was. I thought people knew this. I need a backectomy. You have poliosis. Yeah. I mean, I assume most people did go to a chiropractor. Lol. All right, buddy. Can I ask you a question? do you think I've never been to a chiro? My neck, my back, and my neck. I blame the Tylenol manufacturers. They didn't do anything to you. Blame your stupid ass, dumbass self. My neck, my back, lick my pussy and my crack. Take Percocet? No, thank you. Yeah, I tried that route in my 20s. I was like, ooh, painkillers. And then my brain was like, you love these. And I was like, well, I should stop doing that. Paul, obviously, it's the first time anyone has told Paul to see a doctor for a chronic medical condition. Yeah. And I've never done it either. I'm 43 years old and I've never spoken to a doctor about a chronic all day pain medical condition that limits my mobility. Fentanyl laced cereal milk. Are you guys okay tonight? Because like some of you guys are talking like you had like an aneurysm or something. You feeling okay? Do junkies that are hunched over as if they are picking something up also have it's scoliosis? Or are they looking for rocks? I don't know, dude. I've never been a junkie, so I can't help you with that. I'm baked and tired. I'm one of those two. How can we, the chat, entertain you tonight? I don't know. It's a good question. I'm not sure, to be honest with you. I don't know if I can be entertained. Not in a bad mood. I'm just kind of in a like bleh. Just kind of want to like pretend the stream is lagging and then end it and play video games for the rest of the night. That's kind of where my brain is telling me to do. It's like, hey, Paul Zigo, pretend your internet is lagging and then go like, what, up, what? And then just end the stream and then go play video games. Bro, I don't. I appreciate the medical advice in the chat, but I don't appreciate the just shut up, guys. Shut up. I'm under the care of like multiple doctors for multiple different things. I don't need it. I appreciate it, but I don't need it. Paul, what kind of mask do you use on the CPAP? Like a nose one. It's like a nose strap mask. It's good. What game are you gonna play? I don't even fucking know, bro. Been really into Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. I've got a group of friends I play with, so I'm trying to get good at that. So maybe I'll lab that for a little while. Also, that game, I bought a game a long time ago that just recently came out of early access called Last Epic. That's like, it's like a Diablo clone kind of third person ARPG. Maybe I'll play that. I don't know. I don't know. Everyone with a smartphone is an expert on whatever you're talking about at any given time. I know. And when I started having that AI discussion with Demon Mama, that continued on the last show, I didn't know that like a pretty shocking like 12 to 13% of our audience are high level AI engineers who stopped in to tell me what a retard I am. Isn't that great? I mean, who knew? Who knew fully 12 to 15% of the DFF audience were Google AI engineers? Who knew? Oh yeah, Tello, you invented AI? Well, shit, man. Fuck, I guess I'm wrong then. Hansel, so hot right now. I have a highly educated audience. Yeah, I know. I mean, everybody's like either a doctor or a top secret technician. Got a lot of like Purple Heart soldiers in the audience. Cops, lawyers, government officials. I mean, the whole nine. Doing anything fun this weekend? I only have one thing planned this weekend, and I don't think it's going to be very fun. I don't know. Maybe it will be. Maybe I'll be surprised and it'll end up being fun. But Yeah, my dad is in town, so I'm gonna go visit with him on Saturday, I think. I don't know, maybe. We haven't firmed it up yet. Live stream your dad? No, we will not get into a fight with him. Okay, I'll do that. Should I punch him? Or should I wait for him to punch me first? I feel like if he punches me first, then I can claim self-defense. Lol, debate him. No. No. I'm not going to debate bro my dad. We're not doing it. No, we're just hanging out. We're just going to visit. He requested father-son time. So I was like, oh, okay. Here we go. My dad. My padre. My paternal unit. Tell him about Vosh's horses. I don't think he'd understand. He's from the old times. They don't understand the internet. Like I don't know. I just don't want to be the one that has to explain bestiality and lolly to my dad. I'd rather just let him live in ignorance of that. I don't think he needs a primer. Tell him about interlocutors. Oh yeah. Dad, are you aware that the internet is filled with bad faith tanky interlocutors? Fuck did you just say, boy? There's a Commodore 64 Mini. Cool. Yeah. I don't know how much my dad games anymore. Does he actually have like a southern accent? No, he sounds exactly like me. So I have to put on some kind of accent when I impersonate him because if I really wanted to impersonate him, I'd just talk like me. Does he smoke weed? No. What was the first computer game you ever played? Cave of the Word Wizard? It's like the first commercial computer game that I ever played on the C64. The first game I ever remember playing was my dad's kind of like custom graphic programmed Missile Command on the C64. It would be cool if he smoked weed, but alas and alack. You talk like someone who helped teach you to talk. Shocking. Right. Also, like literally the most direct kind of relative that you can have. Maybe just short of an identical twin. You know what I mean? Like father and son sound and look alike. Who would have known? Who could have known? I wouldn't even want to smoke with my parents. Some people say they do that. I think it's weird. I mean, to each his own, I guess. I've gotten blazed with my mom and my stepdad before many a time. Done mushrooms with my stepdad. Countless drinking nights with my parents. And I just never saw it as weird. I didn't smoke with my parents until, until I was older, probably in my late 20s, but I drank with my parents all the way through my teen years and shit. I smoked with my dad before, and it certainly felt awkward and abnormal. Yeah, I'm sorry to hear that. I smoked with my mom and my stepdad, and we had a good time. We laughed our asses off and ate fucking barbecued hamburgers. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know, whatever. I'm not telling the CB radio story again. We just talked about this. Like, I feel like there's like 5 topics that get cycled through these sometimes, and it takes a while for them to break free. And I'm ready. I've got to break free. I've got to break free. Cast me aside, you're so self-satisfied, I don't need you. I've got to break free. God knows. Can you tell us about the time Kane ran for mayor? Oh, TJ's brother. Have you heard the news? Kane is running for plumber. Knox County soon. Who was Jim Ass? You really want me to blow the lid on Jim Ass? I'll blow the lid on Jim Ass if you want me to blow the lid on Jim Ass. I don't even care anymore. It's been fucking how many fucking years? Let me tell you who Jim Ass is? You want to tell me who you want me to fucking finally tell you who Jim Ass is? I mean, if you guys got to know, if curiosity is eating at you, Jim Ass was an incredibly rich business person who invested heavily in the show and demanded that he be let on as a guest whenever he wanted. There you go. Now you know. Oh, TJ's brother. Have you heard the news? Kane's running for plumber. You ever find out what happened in the end to that one woman when you were a teenager? You convicted you were an adult. I think you meant convinced. She left her husband and wanted to get with you. I have no clue, man. I honestly don't know. I talked with her for the last time when I was 17 and a half, almost 18. And that conversation was her telling me that she had left her husband. She was going to California. She was staying with some friends near Santa Cruz. And then she was going to get a hotel room the next day. And here was the hotel room of the hotel and blah, 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 blah. And she hopes I show up. On the CB, no. I met her on a very early VoIP program in the late 90s called M Player, the letter M Player. Yeah. It was a very early get your friends together in a room so you can talk and play video games together at the same time kind of thing. Pre-Skype. You should look her up. Nah, don't think I will though. I doubt I would have anything interesting to say to her, and it would be really weird too, because if you think about it, she was 39, I think, or 30. How old was she when we were fucking around? 29? I think that's right. I think she was 29. So if she was fucking around with me at 29 when I was 16, I'm now 44 years old. So that means she's got to at least be like what, 60? 55, something like that. Yeah, she's an old lady. And you tricked her? I sure did. Wouldn't that make her a PDF? No, I don't really think so. And you tricked her. Yes. Yes, I did. A little trolling never hurt anybody. That's not true. People have been trolled to death. You were such a hellraiser. I don't know about a hellraiser. I was a pretty good kid, but I definitely pulled some capers in my time. No bones about that. I've gotten away with and not gotten away with some pretty extreme capers in my life. Can you lead a prayer for Mama JF's safe return? No. Can you? Your example of switching with your dad mid sex. It was a joke, bro. It was a fucking joke. The worst trouble you ever got into? I don't know, man. I guess that just kind of depends, really. Like, I'd have to think about it because, I mean, when it comes to trouble that could have landed me with like a permanent felony record or something, I would guess the fucking, what you call it? The fucking federal, not the FDA, Paul's ego, the FCC. I would say the FCC sending like a badge agent out to talk to me was probably maybe the closest I ever came to really being in fucking trouble. I don't know. That or accidentally bringing weed into Texas. That was pretty rough too. But those were almosts. It's the worst trouble I ever got in. I guess getting kicked out of my house. I talked about that earlier on the show. Getting kicked out. Parents found out I was lying, pretending to go to college. That was pretty troublesome. Paul, you are forgetting the time you crossed the mob. Oh, yeah. That's right. Why is this so sad? Huh? What's sad, man? We're chilling. We're just chilling in Cedar Rapids. Dude, some of you guys are typing in a foreign fucking language tonight, dude. I have gone back and tried to read 2 or 3 times some of these comments. What the fuck? Oh my God, bro. You need to log off, bro. You're fucking face rolling your shit. You're too high. You're face rolling your shit. Dude, I earlier today, I didn't watch the whole thing, but for pretty much the first time since it happened, which may be the first time for me ever, I watched that old DP episode, The Wheel of Torment or The Wheel of Misfortune. Watch that today. And that was kind of weird. It was kind of weird to watch. It was interesting. I didn't remember a lot of that stuff. You know, having lived through it, I really didn't feel the need to watch it, so I never did. And I was surprised at how much stuff I'd forgotten. What happened in it? Me, Pimp Monk, and Mr. Repsian were contestants on a Jeopardy-like game show. So Jeopardy-like, where instead of losing points if we got a buzzed in and got an answer wrong, we had to be TJ would spin the wheel of torture, and we had to be beaten in various ways by a dominatrix, a hot dominatrix that was there, named Mistress Jen, who is actually a really nice person, IRL. Dude, I forgot Rep was there. Yeah, he forgot he was there too, I think. One of the comments on that old video is something tells me that Repzion just came there for the beating. And I was like, you know what? I think you might be right. He wanted me to snort a whole peppercorn up my nose. I wish I could get beat by a hot dominatrix. It was an experience. I'll tell you what. I don't think I would ever really kind of want to go back and do that again. But hey, I got it out of the way. I know what that's like now. I've had my ass completely and utterly beat to a pulp with various implements. Nothing as bad as what TJ did to you. Yeah, you're right. Good point. Repsian equals twink. Dude, there was another comment under that video. I find it hard to believe that Repsian and Pim Monk are the same species. They really do look fucking absurd sitting there next to each other. I loved when Pimp Monk was in the Gimp mask too. That is my favorite shit, dude. My favorite fucking shit from that day, dude. Not it wasn't winning the $4,200. It was Pimp Monk sitting there big as the harvest moon in that fucking Gimp mask, dude. Oh, dude, those nipple fucking pins that she had on me were so painful when they got pulled off. So hurt so fucking bad. I was in a lot of pain. A lot of pain after that. But yeah, I noticed something that because I was there, I guess, and probably because I had clothespins all over my nipples and was getting beaten regularly, Ben was non-functional blackout drunk on that show. Like by about the midway point, he was supposed to like be the reader for the questions, and he was just like, "What is it cinnamon covered with Libya?" And we were just like, we're all sitting there with our fucking buzzers I was watching, and we're all sitting there with our buzzers like, what did he say? I was like, dude, I did not notice Ben was that fucking drunk. TJ eventually at some point had to just take over reading because he was so drunk he literally couldn't read. He was so drunk he couldn't run the show. Like the show was already having technical difficulties at the very beginning, and it just got worse because Ben got so fucking obliterated blackout that like he couldn't switch fucking cameras. Couldn't read. He couldn't run the game anymore. It was like, whoa. I'm with you, nostalgia trip. Every once in a blue moon, I'll have a couple of drinks or whatever, get a little head change. But I'm good with weed. I'm good with weed. Did y'all ever get reported to the front office of your apartment for noise? It's a fucking miracle that we didn't. I think we might have got a noise warning once. In fact, I think we did. We got a noise warning, like a written, like, hey, you need to be quieter at night warning. After the Billy the Fridge piss incident episode. Billy was literally, and Billy's a big, loud guy. He's a trained performer, so he's got a fucking voice. Like you could hear him across the city calling for you. Like you'd be opposite ends of fucking Central Park in New York, and you'd hear Billy. And Billy was going like, I would say probably like 85 to 90% to his max, just screaming at me. Yeah, piss Fabe. That episode. Not gonna lie, the Billy the Fridge arc of DP was kind of bad. Dude, I maintain to this day that could have been one of the most amazing arcs on the show. If I'm just gonna say it, if Ben hadn't been a pussy about it. People went nuts after that piss Fabe episode. They were arguing with each other about whether it was real or kayfabe. They were arguing with each other about whether I was justified to attack Billy or not. They were arguing about like whether or not I should sue Billy for assault for throwing his piss at me because it's like a federal offense and blah blah. It was crazy, and I was eating it up. Right, I was feeding it. You know, I made that video where I had Chelsea and Ashley help me make like a fake black eye. It was fucking great. And then Ben was like, we have to end the kayfabe because there's too much hate. And I was like, dude, please don't. Please don't. Dude, it's so much fun. Let us fucking carry it out a little while. Let us ride the fucking heat. You know, we got a heat. No, I just hate fucking checking. And, you know, I was just like, oh, man. And so, you know, we ended up going on the show and being like, it was fake, guys. We were just having fun. And then, like, it didn't even stop the hate because people didn't like the dumbasses that thought it was real, didn't like being fooled. And so they were like, I'm leaving the show. This kayfabe stuff is just not even fun. Like, what am I doing, dude? Coming to a show so you can lie to me? I mean, it just like, it literally like, it actually made it worse. Yeah. Like us coming out and like apologizing to these fans actually like it doubled them down for about a month. It was retarded. Like I was honestly pissed too because up until that point I hadn't really breached kayfabe. And I would have loved to carry on my internet career with that little extra element of is this real or is this fake? But that's not possible now because people know I have a fucking affinity for kayfabe because Ben had to tell everybody because there were some people fucking reeing in the chat. You know what I mean? It was just garbage. I was pissed off about that, honestly, because I don't know. Is what it is, though, I suppose. I mean, for all I know, Ben could have been right to make that decision. You know what I mean? Maybe it would have been worse if we'd have kept it going, but god damn, it was fun. I don't need any updates on what Ben is doing and stuff. I'm not trying to start drama. I was just talking, because I went back and watched that fucking show for the first time ever, really. And there was stuff going on that I did not realize was going on. That's all. But yeah, I'm not trying to have like a whole shit talk sesh. I got no ill will towards Ben and, Billy and that show, the DP show. Shama lama 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 ding dong. Shama lama 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 ding dong. Paul, you should drop some bars on Billy's new album. I mean, I can't really rap very well. I could get a hold of Beauregard, but I don't know. I haven't heard from that dude in like over a year. I think he's ghosted me at this point. Did you do a guest appearance if asked? It depends on the context, honestly. Like, I don't know. Yeah, it would depend on the manner of the invite and what the invite was for and all of that. But I wouldn't be adverse to doing it under, reasonable circumstances and shit. I'm not going to go on there and do a big drama episode or whatever, but if they want to have me on to ask questions or have me on for a segment or something, I'd consider it at the very least. I got nothing against it. It would be awkward. I don't think it would be. I think oftentimes awkward people project awkwardness onto things. I don't think it would be awkward at all. I'm not a very awkward person, to be frank. I'm a pretty direct person, so I don't, you got to understand, it wasn't like drama for us. I guess it was, but it was work. It was business. It's a different thing. Should go on other shows. I mean, I'll be honest with you guys. I don't check my fucking Twitter very often or use it, but back when I was relatively active on my Twitter, probably once a week, I would get an offer to go on a show. And I usually just politely turn it down or didn't answer. I don't like going on people's shows. I don't. I like having my show. I like being in the pilot seat on a show. Now I'm willing to do it, but I don't like the guest seat. I've had some bad experiences, honestly, doing guest stuff or working, doing collab stuff. I've really had some bad experiences, bro. I mean, I don't want to retread it, but the whole thing with Vadim, where I did a Brett Keane thing for him that ended up taking me 10 working hours or whatever to produce for him, bled into 2 days of bullshit for a fucking 30 or 35 second sound bite that he wanted me to record. It was fucking absurd. And then I'm not gonna say his name because I don't want to fucking drag the dude, but there was a dude that he was a creator from way back, and he popped into a ideology chat, I think, one night, or he might have hit me up on Twitter. I think he might have hit me up on Twitter. And I remember him from back in the olden golden days, and he was like, "Hey man, I do a little podcast, doesn't get many views, but I'd love to have you on." And I was like, "Cool, dude, I'll go." And I went, and I did my part. I announced it or whatever. I was like, "Hey, I'm gonna be on this podcast with this fella, and shooting the shit. Come check it out." So I got a few, maybe a couple hundred people, maybe breezed through to check it out. And I got on the show, and the first, I don't know, like 20 minutes of the appearance was fine, but homeboy that was running the show, there were two guys other than me on the show. One of them, the main guy, and then he had a friend and me. And the main guy, I watched him, sat and just like unscrewed the top off of a fifth of whiskey and was just heavy pouring that motherfucker into his cup all night. And I'd say about 20 minutes in, the motherfucker was hammered. And I was sitting there, and there was like a couple of moments of like really awkward, non-transitional silence and I was like, fuck, I guess I'm gonna have to carry this motherfucker. So I did. I started being, loud and performative and fun and arguing with the other dude who wasn't so retardedly drunk that he couldn't speak. And then Drunky Boy, whose show it was, who I came on as a favor for, has the audacity at one point to get all like brolic with me. Because he's like, "Excuse me, can I get a word in edgewise on my own show?" And I was like, "What?" Like, "I remember back in the day when this used to be my show." And I was like, "Bro, you're too fucking drunk to do your show. I'm trying to help you out, but yeah, go ahead." Just like, whatever, bro. Bro didn't get it. I've been around drunk people a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if dude had a problem. Maybe, I don't know. I don't want to I don't like diagnosing people, but there's a couple of like things that tip me off that somebody has an alcohol problem. This is just from personal experience. Number one, and this is a common misconception. A lot of people think alcoholics can drink a fuck ton and not even be drunk, and that's the opposite of the truth. Alcoholics have weakened livers, and so they get drunk quick. They go from like 0 to 100 real quick. And just watching that dude fucking take what probably amounted to like 3 shots of JD or whatever, 3 shots of whiskey, and then be fucking slurring and stumbling and bumbling and shit. That's probably an alcoholic person, honestly. And then just kind of the way he was unaware of how drunk he was. Alcoholics will oftentimes, that's why you catch them driving and thinking they're going to get away with it. Everybody's seen like a million Cops episodes where they're like, "Hello there, ma'am. Can I see your license and registration? You know why I pulled you over?" "I don't have any reason, officer, to know how you pulled me over. I'm on my way home after that babysitting job for my sister." And you know what I mean? It's just like drunk people, like they have no inhibition. Oh crap, I didn't know that. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, it's just something that like honestly you learn it if you're around people that have that problem. Cuz they're alcoholics that like yeah, they can sit and drink all fucking day, but when it comes to them getting drunk, 2-3 beers into a six pack, they're fucked. But they've convinced themselves because they go through so much of their day shitty, fucked up, that they're okay, that they're passing or whatever, that they're not impaired, and that's why they jump in the fucking car, and you know what I mean. But so yeah, I mean that's why I'm not fucking naming shaming the dude because I'm pretty sure he might have had a problem, but it's just like that's kind of why I don't do it. Like if somebody like Kyle hits me up, Kyle's, I mean, a different story, right? I've worked with Kyle a bunch of times. I know him as a known quantity. He's not a shitbird. He's not, and he's not stupid. He knows how to fucking co-carry a show. So I'll go on his show anytime he invites me. Same thing with Demon Mama. I've got a rapport with Demon Mama. I like her. I think she's a talented streamer and pretty fucking smart to boot. And I would go on her show anytime, because I just can't see her, having me show up and then not having anything prepared or not carrying her part of the fucking, performance. So I'd do that. But in other times when I've, because I feel like when I do that with somebody that I don't really have an actual rapport with, it turns badly. Like, I don't think that the talks that I had with Vosh were bad, ultimately. Having gone back and watched them, it's been a long time, but having gone back and well, no, that's not true. I watched the first one in prep for Vosh. So it hasn't been that long for that one. And I haven't watched them, since then, maybe a couple of times. I didn't think that they were fucking like, yeah, we got heated and went back and forth, but I thought we had a pretty decent rapport and he kept me on going for a long time and all that. But I'm telling you, the price I paid for that, the price being months and months and months of his fans just like shit posting all over every fucking thing. And just reading their fucking recontextualizations in the comments of everything I did, having them in my fucking comment section, trolling or not trolling, just being autistic a lot of the times. Dude, it was not worth. It was not worth. We probably got some fucking exposure for the show because I went on there. In fact, I know we did. But it was not a fair trade. Let's just put it that way. I will never go on Vosh again. I don't want to talk to that dude ever the fuck again. I just don't think that there's going to be anything fruitful to come from that, honestly, for either of us. So I think it's what's needed to be said has been said, at least on my part, and I would be very reluctant to jump back into that fucking shitty community. I mean, just like there was a resurgence when we had him on our show, as you might imagine, of these little fucking broccoli top motherfuckers that follow Vosh around, who are just like political time wasters. That's what I like to call them. Just like people who are looking to act like they want to engage you in conversation, but really all they want to do is engage as much of your time as they can and be as frustrating as they can and make your life as fucking annoying as they can. I wouldn't have a problem talking with him again, but that fucking dude, you learn as a content creator. Say what you want about me. I've been doing this a long fucking time. So I've paid my dues in this business. And one of the things you learn as a content creator is sometimes having a good talk with somebody or an interesting debate or even an argument that was fun with somebody isn't worth agitating their communities. I mean, we had this happen a bunch of times on DP. DP was an example for it for us. When we started DFF, when the split happened and we started up DFF, DP was like one of these hostile communities for us. I mean, go look at our first 5 videos on the DFF channel and read the comments. I mean, people were brutal and merciless and nonstop, It's like, fuck. I was surprised for how long DP and even DFF retained some alt-righty people in the audience. I'm not surprised by that at all. I mean, maybe not even alt-righty. I mean, there was definitely some of that, especially during the DP days. Obviously, the alt right was hugely ascendant. They were watching everything, and I think that they liked hanging around us because number one, we were hella funny, and number two, we were willing to bring these guests on. You know, we're willing to bring on the Milos and the Sargons of Akkad and this, you know, and like go hard at them. So it was good entertainment for them. It basically gave birth to the blood sports movement. But you know what I mean? Like, I think getting out of that environment and having a show that was not focused on guests really kind of alienated a lot of those people out of the audience. But I think there's quite a few of them, honestly, still in the audience. Maybe not alt writers anymore, but like right adjacent people or center right people that watch us because they think we're funny. They pipe up every once in a while in the chat. I don't blame them for keeping their heads down. They probably don't want to get in an argument every time they disagree with us. But I don't mind it. I don't mind people who are ideologically opposed to me watching me because they find me interesting and they like hearing my arguments. You showed Corpse Midget to Sargon. Well, do you know why I did that? I did that because number one, and I've told this story before, so I won't go into the whole thing. I was under some weird fucking leash rule that day where it's like Ben would fucking signal me kind of off camera under the table to stop or to move on. I think that honestly, you want to know what I think, dude? And maybe I'll even ask TJ about this shit. I bet he'd be straight up with me about it now if I'm right. Because I've always felt weird about that show. You guys even remember this fucking show? Anyway, I think that TJ and Ben were terrified of Sargon and his audience turning on DP and leaving the show. Because it wasn't until I showed up for work that I found out that TJ and Scotty were not going to be present, that I was going to be leading the interview. I mean, it was just crazy. It was weird for TJ and Scotty both to fuck off when we're having one of the bigger I mean, like, say what you want. Like, Sargon was huge at this time, right? Had a huge following, even compared to us as a single entity. He was fucking huge. But we'd done this before, you know, like, I just don't understand that. I would really like to pick their brains if that's what happened, not to bitch about it, but just to understand, like, why did you make that? Like, I could see like even telling me to stay home, right? Like being like, hey, Paul, your abrasiveness maybe might not be the best thing on this Sargon episode. We're gonna say you're sick or on vacation or whatever the fuck. And I would have been fine with that. I'm a performer. Like, I'm not gonna fucking huff and puff about that. But they did the inverse. They like put me there, and Ben, like, you know, he was like insistent under the table with the hand signals and shit. He was never like that with me. Every once in a while, he would fucking turn the mics off and fucking say something if, you know, I was going too far or he wanted to make something clear to TJ or whatever the fuck, off cam and off mic. But dude, that day he made me sit in TJ's chair because I just went and got in my chair. I figured it didn't matter the way he had it set up. You couldn't tell who was sitting next to who. And he was like, no, Paul, come over here and sit next to me. I was like, oh, okay. You know, that's kind of weird, but I'll do that. You didn't ask him afterward? Dude, I was just happy to have a fucking job. And Ben and I weren't exactly like super close. Paul spilling the tea. I mean, I've talked about this before. I've just never brought it up with TJ. Or maybe I have and he just kind of like fucking brushed me off. I can't remember. But like, I'm not even weirded out about it or salty. I'm just like kind of interested to know what the thought process was for that. But, you know, I wanted to fucking rip Sargon a new asshole. Have you guys ever go back and watch that show and see if you can see it in me? I wanted desperately to give this guy the fucking Milo treatment because he was a smug British tea sipping doughy weirdo with a fucking white person fetish and a big boner for fascism. And I wanted to fucking clown on him every time I started to. Stop. Move on. Under the table. Move on. Move on. Chill out. You know? And it's like, so every time I would ask this dude something, I'd be like, what do you think about climate change? I was told you don't believe in it. Oh, well, actually, you know, I don't, I simply don't know anything about it. He'd be all slippery and evasive. And so I confronted him. What do you mean you don't know about it? Everybody, what? Have you not paid attention to the news? Under the table, Ben. Move on, move on, move on. And so I finally got tired of that. I was like, I'm not going to sit here and like be a puppet or whatever for an hour. So I was like, hey, want to see some corpse midget? And Ben cringed and laughed and the fucking chat lit up because I was just done fucking. Like if I was going to pussyfoot around with him, you know what I mean? Like, and he fucking left. Yeah, that is a quote, isn't it, Jareth? I don't disbelieve in it. You know, whatever. I don't know what it was. Like to this day, I don't know what the thought process was. Well, I think I do, but I want to know if I'm right. I think the thought process was if Paul's ego fucks up and goes off on Sargon and pisses off his fans, we can disavow Paul's ego. And I really want to know, like, were they at the point where they were going to throw me under the bus if there was blowback from Sargon's appearance? Because I feel like that's the only reason to pull this, like, surprise, you're going it alone today. You know what I mean? Like, you were the sacrificial lamb. See, here's the fucked up thing, though. These guys knew me as a performer. If they would have told me, like, hey, we're probably going to take some heat for this and we really want to be able to take a step back from it. So you're going to, I would have been like, cool. I never had a fucking problem with being I still am that. I still am that. You know, lightning rod is what TJ will straight out call me. Like that term means somebody that draws the heat. And I don't know if you guys noticed on DP, I played that role on DP too. I didn't choose it. It's not the role that I would have cast myself in, but it wasn't up to me. They use you as an attack dog. Kind of, yeah, I feel like that. I don't have a problem with that. Once again, that was what I understood they wanted from me. Because it's really all I had done is come on and aggressively confront stupid Christians or stupid conservative dumbasses. They still talk shit about. I don't care, bro. Like, I don't care about that shit. I doubt it's fucking true, but even if it is, like, oh, whatever, they might perceive this that I'm doing now, talking shit, but I'm just telling stories from back then. I was not looped in on that shit, so what am I supposed to do but speculate? Biggest guess maybe that the show's ever had in the history of the show, and we're having the guy that we've set up all fucking year as the heel of the show, gonna have him sit down, but we're gonna control him and make him do a straight man interview and then just get out of there. What a weird plan. Like, what? Oh. Well, Merrick, it shouldn't be strange to you. That was 100% kayfabe. Everybody in the room knew what was going to happen that night. It had been discussed. So there was nothing weird about it. It was kayfabe. They were letting the tension build between me and Billy so we could pull a big fucking fight at the end and end the show. I mean, look, I like Princess Aura. I understand what you're saying. You say, God forbid we scare off the white supremacists in our audience, but you have to understand when your business, like, if you're running a fucking Magic the Gathering shop, you're not going to chase off somebody just because you suspect they're a fucking white supremacist. You're going to let them buy their Magic cards, you know? So I don't really fault them for not wanting to lose subscribers and shit. I would really like to hear like what the strategy was. Dude, as I remember it, there was no excuse even given me. Beads. As I remember it, because I used to live in the same building as the DP studio. So for me, going to work was going up the elevator and walking around the corner in a hallway and going about halfway down the hallway. And there was the studio, right? And so I went there thinking it was going to be full of people because I was usually one of the last people to be there because I literally had no, because I could leave like 5 minutes before and I'd be there with a 2 minutes to spare or whatever. I got there probably 5-10 minutes early and nobody was in there. Then Ben showed up like 5 minutes after that, like 5 minutes before we were all supposed to like meet before the show, and goes, TJ and Scotty aren't coming, so you're going to do the Sargon interview. Here's some questions. And he handed me like a printout of some questions. And he was like, kind of stick to these. And it was like, what do you think about LGBTQ? What do you think about, climate change? Do you believe in climate change? What do you think about you have kind of a conspiracy theorist side of you. Here's a video of you talking about Hitler fleeing Germany and going to Brazil and how you believe the CIA helped that happen. Did you still believe that? Like all this stuff was on the paper and it was real brief. It wasn't like I got to spend an hour like going like, what is going on? It was like the show was about to go live. And so I was like, and dude, and on top of that, I'm a performer. I do what I'm told. I'm not an owner of the business. I was not a fucking, I was not a voice on the show that could change things. I could make my opinion known, but I didn't have time. So I really felt like that was part of the design too. Like I was just kind of like bum rushed with it. Like, here you go. I was like, and we'd never done anything like this before. I'd never been handed a script, and I never was again, ever on the show. I remember asking Ben, why wouldn't we just reschedule this? I was like, why would we want to do such a big fucking day? Because I was all prepped, man. I was like, shit, yeah, Sargon's going to be on. Crazy show tonight. Got to be extra fucking aware and like, yada. I was like, why would we do this? Like, why don't we just like, hey guys, we were going to have Sargon, but some shit came up. And it was just like, I don't even remember what I think I just got brushed off. It's like, no, we don't want to do that, or maybe it was something like, oh, his schedule is, he's hard to get. And we don't want to fuck him off. Whatever. I was like, okay, all right. Fair game. Don't ask me business questions that you wouldn't want to answer yourself. All right. I don't go. How about this? I won't go digging into your business particulars and you don't dig into mine. Seems fair. Oh, sorry. Was my question inappropriate? No. I was talking to Ricklin. Just going asking like business structure questions and financial questions and shit that you have no no right to know and no business knowing. TJ probably didn't want to confront Sargon because he's talked about that time he was heavily considered going down the alt. Excuse me, this weed. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I would just like I don't care. That's the thing, is I have no anger about it. I'm not like, wow, I got done dirty. I'm just like kind of like scratching my fucking head over here still all these years later. Like, the only interpretation that I can think of is pretty uncharitable to the dudes. Like, let's throw Paul in front of the bus. And I want to know if that's really what it was, or if there was something else going on, or lol, TJ was right wing as fuck for like 5 years. I don't know if it was 5 years, but yeah, I won't deny it. I mean, TJ was like a full blown Ayn Rand libertarian for a good chunk of his earlier YouTube years. And I think just by virtue of us being, in TJ's case, millennial, me, ex-millennial, ex-millennial cusper generation, the fact that we weren't afraid to be offensive and weren't afraid to make edgy jokes and shit made us novel to right-wing people, because we would make fun of them, but we would also make fun of the lady with pink and blue hair, with a poem about a diaper filled with trauma or whatever the fuck. You know what I mean? Like, we were doing it all. And so for me, that explains, why there was like a rightward tinge in the audience. Every audience had a rightward, especially on YouTube. YouTube was just like a fucking staging ground for the alt-right. And it was just like fucking unbelievable at that time. And so all these audiences were, filled with Pepe posters and Kekistan people. But as far as TJ's politics, yeah, I want to know. Because I didn't, like I said, I was not an owner of DP. I was not entitled to be at any kind of ownership meetings or production meetings. And so I want to know, like, there had to have been a meeting. And I want to know what was said at that meeting. I want to know what the plan was all these years later. I think I've, I really just out of fucking dead ass curiosity. I want to know, is it what it looks like to me? Or what I feel like it is, or am I just being paranoid and uncharitable? Was it literally just let's throw Paul to the fucking wolves? That way, if he fucks up, we can fire him. If he really fucks up bad, we can fire him. I don't know. That's kind of what it feels like. That's why I, didn't stray too far from the fucking agreed upon script or whatever. And that's why nobody ever talked to me about it, because it was a shitty appearance. He didn't stay for long. He dipped out because he was weirded out by me, but I felt like everybody was just relieved. They were just like, whew. But whatever, dude. I'll do some behind the scenes shit. You guys got any DP questions you want me to air out? Anything you're curious about? Now, I'm not promising I'll answer everything. I'm not going to give out personal details or any kind of fucking personal stuff that I learned as a part of it. So you can get those questions up out of here. Don't even ask them. If you do, Otello, ban them all. Everybody in here that's got a wrench, if they start doing like private fucking, if they start treating it like it's TMZ, but if you're interested in like a story behind an episode or a story behind what happened at a meetup, or stuff that was between me and the guys that was show related, I'm fine with that. Like, I'm game with that. What's your favorite rock band? I mean, I'm a child of the 80s and 90s, so Nirvana. Favorite episode you remember being on? I don't know about favorite. After watching that Wheel of Torture, that was definitely not one. I was hurting by the end of that. I was ready to be done. So that's definitely, it was a fun episode in retrospect, but not my favorite. I don't know, man. I've always had a real rosy view of my interaction with Casey Tron. She was on the show a couple of times, I think, but I was on with her once when I was living in Texas, and calling into the show. And I thought we had a really good rapport. I thought she was fucking hilarious. I thought the energy was fun that night. And I don't know. I'll pick that one. I don't know if that's actually the one I would land on if I sat and thought about it. But yeah, I'll pick that one. Did you have any big figures contact the show, e.g., YouTubers, celebrities? I mean, we had a lot of big figures on the show, right? We had people that were fucking huge on that show. People from outside of the YouTube space that were huge on that show. So, yeah, I mean, we had big figures on the show. Yeah, I wasn't really involved in it though, so I couldn't speak to like, stuff that people that didn't end up on the show but we were in talks with. That would have been Ben and TJ. Remember that time TJ screamed the hard R into the mic because some blue-haired bitch told him he wasn't allowed in a video? I don't, but that sounds like TJ. What happened in Atlantic City? I told you, no personal details. Casey Tron is hilarious. I think so too. I haven't seen her content in a long time. I think she still does stuff, but man, I thought she was the coolest, like kind of Andy Kaufman-esque kayfabe performer. She is just really committed to this character she played, but I considered it my personal duty to get her to get that facade to crack, and I did it a couple of times on that show, and I thought that I felt good about that because I know that she's super practiced at the straight man kind of thing. She was really hot. Oh, okay. Thanks for bringing your hard dick into the conversation. I appreciate that. Thanks. Yeah, dude. We needed a big fucking boner in the conversation. We needed somebody to boner post. Like, come on, dude. You want me to get out of the way? Yeah, Casey Tron, boobas. She had big boobas. There you go. I'd do something with Casey Tron in a heartbeat. For sure. because my limited experience with her was nothing but professional and fun. So anyway, go ahead and feel free to like re-answer any questions I missed. I don't want to be like scrolling up. I want to see the live chat. So any questions that I may not have answered, you can repeat yourself. You have a pass. Where did you guys get the idea to stage drama with Billy? This is actually kind of funny. So Billy, I was the one that pushed for Billy. I knew of Billy because of his rap stuff. And when I found out he was vlogging and shit and lived in the area, I was like, dude, we got to get this dude Billy the Fridge. And I showed them some Billy videos, and they ended up getting in contact with him, and he was totally down. But they didn't know him, so they wanted me, because I knew of him, to go meet him and bring him up to the studio. So in that time, I met Billy. We came in, dapped up, gave a little fucking bro shoulder hug, introduced, each other, ourselves, and did the whole I'm a big fan, love the show thing. And then Billy brought it up. Billy was like, as I remember it anyway, I don't want to fucking talk out of school. Remember, this is fucking like 10 years ago, and I'm a stoner. I was going to say I was a stoner, but I'm still a stoner. Forgive me, but I remember it being Billy like, yeah, man, you got a lot of heat on the show or whatever, like in terms of like people fucking hate you. And I was like, yeah, dude. And one of us, I don't remember who it was, but we were, there was a whole elevator ride that had to be taken, and it was a long walk across the parking garage. It was one of those buildings that had an underground private garage. So Billy was dropped off, outside of it, and I had to walk him into the building and down into the garage. And then we had to get to the fucking central column elevator and take that up. So it was probably about like a 10-minute little stroll. Two fat fucks too. So it took a little extra time probably. But over the course of that elevator ride, we, kind of like synced up in terms of our thought process. Like, let's make some cheap heat. Let's make some cheap heat on the show tonight. You know what I mean? And I said, well, how do you want to do it? He was like, well, I will be the chat tonight. Because it was, you guys, I don't know if you remember, at the time of the Billy episode, it was a wave of like, I do not like Paul. I do not enjoy him. It was that. I mean, it was just, you would go into, and I loved it. I always smiled when I went into a chat and it was 99% Paul, because I was like, God damn, my paycheck is assured. Look what I'm fucking bringing in. Look at the heat. I was like, ooh wee. I used to try and explain that to people sometimes, and they would say, oh, you're just coping. It's like, all right. So anyway, Billy was aware of that, and he was like, that's my idea, is I'll be the chat. So I'm not going to come right at you because I'll be a guest, but just all night I'm going to needle you, and I'm going to start to make it harsher as the night goes on. I was like, dude, yes. And he goes like, I don't know what you want to do. I was like, I don't remember who came up with what, but we decided on the basic structure of it. He was going to start off like pretty chill, maybe a little bit of a needling, and then he was going to do it all night. You know what I mean? And ramp it up. And he did great. And so we finally got up to the top of the elevator, walked down the long ass hallway to the studio, and we pitched it to the dudes. They loved it. They loved the idea, and that was that. That was it. Ben, I think, came up with the piss idea because he was a sadistic fuck who knew I was like really grossed out by piss. And by the way, I will talk shit about Ben about this. Fuck you for dumping piss on me while you were piss drunk, you piece of shit. That was like below the fucking belt. That was one of the shittiest things, honestly, that a content creator has done to me. So fuck you for that, Ben. Yeah, I will talk shit about him for that. The fuck he did that. Oh, yes, dude. Okay, so dude you guys remember this show, right? You can probably go find it. This motherfucker monetizes and makes money off of that shit still. Him pouring piss on me. No, it was not real piss from Billy. It was Ben. This was another show. This was not the Billy show. This was a whole other show, or maybe it was the Billy show. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. This was a whole other show. This motherfucker got once again obliterated drunk, went into the fucking bathroom, filled a Dixie cup, like a red Solo cup, filled with piss, and came over and sat on my lap with it and was like, oh, like hovering it over me. And I thought he was messing around. I thought it was water. And I looked in there and I could see it was foamy yellow piss and I could smell it. That was real. That was not fake. That was not kayfabed. So he was sitting on my lap and he's like, oh, it's going to slop, Paul. Be careful. And I was like, dude, please don't put your fucking get up. And then his drunk ass was like, all right, all right. When he went to get up, he fucking accidentally slopped it on my leg. Just too fucking drunk not to be a stupid piece of shit, dude. So yeah, that's the end of my shit talking segment, but that did suck. Because it's like me doing what I would do if he wasn't my boss would have meant me being fired. Let's just put it that way. Like, I'm not a violent dude and I'm really not a fighter. He might have kicked my ass, but dude, I'm not the type of dude that like you come and soak me in your piss for a joke and I'm not going to fucking pop you one. You know what I mean? Like, But he was my boss. So it was like, do I want my paycheck or do I want to bust Ben's fucking face? And the answer was, I want my paycheck. It wouldn't have been a fair fight. He was stumbling, bumbling drunk. It'd have been a one fucking shot sucker punch. And I was just like, well, probably not worth losing my job over and going to jail over. So into the shit talk segment. Go ahead. Next question. I don't want to hear your shit talk. I said that was my shit talk segment, not it's free for all to get, because I'm not going to read your shit. I don't want to be involved in that. I don't think Ben will deny any of that happening. It's on fucking video. You know, so it's not like I'm shit talking. I'm just saying, you know, now that you're no longer my boss, I don't think I ever told you like fuck you for that. So there you go. Fuck you for that, bro. That sucked. That was the like legit. I'm trying to think. I'm pretty sure it's the shittiest thing like a fellow content creator has ever done to me. Does Billy get a new donut for his chain every day? So Billy has a donut that I believe is like either created out of or dipped in resin. So it is a permanent donut and it's always the same donut. I don't think he would have a problem with me revealing that. It's like covered in acrylic. Did you witness any creepy behavior on DP? I mean, like, so the guests on DP were often pretty fucking creepy people. But there was really nothing that I would have seen that you didn't on that. As far as like people being inappropriate, no. You know, I was in a committed relationship at the time, so was TJ. I never witnessed anybody being inappropriate or weird with anybody. Mercedes the diddler, I know, right? What a fucking weird story that was. I was like, yeesh. Chat was always super creepy every time there was a female guest. Yeah, there was definitely some like creepy stuff like that. And people lambasted me for being creepy with Mercedes, but you know what? Fuck her. You know what I mean? She was a porn star, and I grew up watching Howard Stern and shit. And I was not gonna like have a porn star in and advertise her porn and have her as a guest and not ask her about fucking porn stuff. You know? Like I get it. Like you don't like maybe I shouldn't have led with it or whatever, but like, I don't know. It's just like roll with the fucking punches or don't go on shows. What was Keen like in private? Exactly like he is in public. Exactly. 1 minute he's like, "Oh, I don't mind you all that much, Paul Zingo. We've been doing this a long time." You know, and then the next minute he's like, "Paul Zingo's a pedophile with a 12-year-old girlfriend. There's a picture of her in the situation." You know what I mean? Like he's the same exact person. I'll give him that. If nothing else, Brett is fucking consistent. He's a consistent douchebag that will never be straight with you online and offline, in my experience. That's unsurprising. He doesn't strike me as a good enough actor to play a character. Yeah, no, he's definitely not playing a character. Wait, was she weirded out about bringing asked about porn? Huh? She was not weirded out or maybe she was, but she wasn't super like she was clearly not interested in talking about it. And people fucking some people were critical of her, I remember at the time, but a lot of people were critical of me, like, damn, Paul gets fucking girl on the show and he's immediately talking about anal or whatever the fuck. Like, do you and TJ still have aspirations to be filmmakers? I don't know about filmmakers. I have aspirations to be a screenwriter, honestly, at this point, and dreams of being a filmmaker. I think that in my life, I can get a script banged out. It may not be a great script and it may never go anywhere, but if I can get a good script, maybe I get a little buzz around it. Maybe we get a little funding that isn't me. You know what I mean? I throw in a bunch too and I make a fucking crazy movie. But right now, my aspiration is to be a script writer. And I want to really learn the art of doing that. Honestly, it's something I've been thinking about lately. No, I can't speak for TJ. I know TJ's been more focused on fiction writing, so I would say he probably has, he'd probably tell you. I still feel like TJ has the aspiration. So I just don't think it's a short term goal of his. But you'd have to ask him. What about being a playwright? Well, I do have background as a playwright. I've written several plays in my life and punched up a couple of plays. And writing a script is very functionally different than writing a play, but very similar in some key ways. So I feel like I've got a leg up. But when I look at an MLA or not MLA, but whatever the fucking main format of script writing is, like when download a fucking movie script or whatever, uh, one of the things I know about the industry is that you have to fucking deliver your script in the precise formatting. It's a way of like, it's a way of checking dedication. And so you have to format it perfectly. There are programs, special programs. I actually own one that do this, but they're really tough to wrap your head around. And I haven't spent enough time playing with it, and it's held me back working on the couple of workup scripts that I have. But yeah, no, I would love to write a script and then see what I can do with it. Maybe release it and do a GoFundMe and be like, hey, I want to make this movie. Here's how I think I could do it for about 20 grand. I'm gonna put in another 20 grand, so 40 grand for the movie. And if you want to pitch in a buck, thanks. Put your name in the credits. Dude, I don't want to shit talk Marshall because in number one, I don't know for 100% certainty that it was him. It was a text conversation. And oh god, hold up. Having a little acid reflux. But yeah, no, I'm not here to shit talk Marshall. Give me a sec, guys. Okay. Hello. No, it wasn't you. I've been having acid reflux on and off. It's not as bad as it was, but it just comes out of nowhere sometimes, and I'll just verp. It's like, ugh. So I got up to deal with that, and then took a piss. Grabbed a couple smokes to bring in here. But as far as the Marshall stuff, dude, here's the deal. I don't know for 100% facts that it was him because it was a text conversation from a new number that I did not have for him. So it could be somebody trolling me or whatever the fuck. I don't know. And on top of that, even if he was serious about the things he said to me, I don't care. I still like him. I still think he's a talented dude, and I had a really good time with him, and I considered him a friend, and still do, honestly. And so I gained nothing from shit talking a dude. I thought it was sad, if it is truly him, it is kind of sad to me, and I wanted people to know it so they stopped bringing him up around me, honestly, because you know, kind of hurts my feelings a little bit. But I guess his feelings were hurt too, and it wouldn't be the first time that I hurt somebody's feelings if it indeed is true that his feelings are hurt. Fredo, I know it was you. And I really don't do that. I mean, like, dude, I've goofed on what happened to you too, Jareth, but I've always been chill with you because I don't burn bridges with creative people that I've worked with, you know, if I can help it. Unless I really feel like I need to. It's the same deal, right? You know what I mean? I'm not trying to evoke that, but I'm just saying, you know what I mean? You and I are still chill. I never held that shit against you. You know what I mean? It actually is a funny story. You know, we're able to joke about it, and I hope that you feel that way about it, you know, too. But it comes from the same place, you know what I mean? I consider you not to be like a dude that opened for us. You know, you're a creator that we worked with. You're a creative person. Why did Galen position himself as the arbiter of Egghead's conduct? You'd have to ask Galen. Yeah, dude, you'd have to fucking ask Galen. Was there ever a moment during the show that made you regret your decision to join it? Mm, no, not really. Maybe when I heard it was breaking up because I was heartbroken. Literally, I know. You know, people think there was like cynicism in my leaving that show, and really, it was just a fucking business decision and a decision of friendship. Honestly, I had nothing to do with the breakup of that show. I loved that show. I would have took a bullet for that show. No joke. If they would have needed somebody to step in front of a bullet and it would have made great fucking content, I'd have been your guy. So I was real saddened when it had to come to an end. And I did think, like, man, I wish I never would have started with this because, you know, maybe I could start fresh with something and not have the baggage of what this could have been hanging over my fucking head for the rest of my life. But lame question, but why did you guys quit DP? I mean, I've talked about this to the extent that I can because you need to understand something when you're talking to me, at least. And I don't expect the other guys to be forthcoming, any more forthcoming than I am. I was straight up not involved in the decision to leave DP. Well, that's not necessarily true. I decided to leave with the guys, but that decision was decoupled from any reasoning they had to end the show. I can tell you what I think is the truth. I think the show had gotten stale. I think it needed to be reinvigorated. And I think Ben and TJ couldn't come really to terms on how best to do that. I think there was some bad blood about the DP Plan B episode or whatever it was, or it was an episode where Ben couldn't be there. We did it on Twitch. It was great. Had a lot of good bits in it. And then Ben nuked it off of Twitch because we showed a dildo or something in like one of the videos we watched. There's some dude chick shook around a black dildo, and that's what I heard anyway. I know there was some bad blood for that, but that's certainly like we'd already moved to New Orleans by the time that happened, so that couldn't have been the trigger for it. You know, so that's what I know. Um, minus things that aren't your guys's fucking business to know. You know, the other stuff that I may or may not know about that time, I choose to not talk about because I don't think it benefits anybody for drama and bullshit to be, you know, re-talked about. So, but yeah, and you can go all the way back. I've been firm on this. I loved that show. I did a lot for that show. I was willing to do a lot more for that show, you know. They would have left even if you had stayed on, sounds like. I mean, that's pretty much the case. Yeah. I was given an offer pretty much both ways. Go with TJ and Scotty, stay with Ben and continue the show. And I made my choice. And, I'm not ashamed to say that my choice was purely a functional choice. I was really good friends with TJ at the time. And not only that, but as a business person, he had always been good to me. He'd always made good on things that he told me he was going to try and do. And if I came to him with a problem, I was having money or otherwise, which I did on occasion, asking for a little bit of a raise or whatever. He was always a dude that tried to accommodate me, and he always gassed me up as a performer. And I just saw a better opportunity with him and Scotty than I did with Ben, who I didn't get along with very well, and I didn't feel like liked me much as a person. And I'm not going to say I disliked Ben as a person, but I didn't get along with the guy. I definitely wouldn't have wanted to be like, have him be my sole boss. I don't think I would have stayed on DP long if Ben was like 100% owner of it or something and TJ was just getting a big fat cut. I think TJ shielded me once again, and this is another reason I went with TJ. I think TJ shielded me from a lot of shit that Ben would have thrown right in my face, and didn't allow Ben to. I mean, I'll just straight out say it. Ben wanted me fired multiple times off of the show, and was pretty open about it with me. Including right at the end when I had already taken a massive pay cut. So I stopped appearing on the show as much because I didn't feel like it was fair. He wanted me fired at the end before the show was canceled. He was desperate for me to be canned. I didn't know that at the time, of course, of the breakup, but I did know about the other firing shit that he wanted to do. Which is fine. He's a businessman. And I was a contractor. He's fully within his rights to raise my firing, but that's why I didn't stay on over there. You know what I mean? I mean, that and just a really good friendship with TJ and a really good experience working with TJ as a business person. It wasn't always perfect, but TJ always tried to make good and always did right by me. And so did Scotty. I would say the same thing about Scotty. Things didn't always work out as planned, but these dudes, by and large, did great by me. There were some mistakes here and there on all of our parts, but I love these dudes. I really do. They're my friends, and I've been through a lot of shit with them, and I've been working with them for a long time now, and so I think I chose correct. And you were living with TJ? No, I wasn't. I had my own apartment. But I don't have any vitriol. I don't have any angst. I don't have any ill will towards the dudes that are still doing that show or the show itself. So next question. I'll keep going as long as you guys have questions that you want to know about, because I don't care. I love doing a Q&A, and I like telling stories, so. Oh. You were talking. Sorry. I thought you were talking about the earlier shit. Yeah, no, we were in the tender. We were all living together. Me, TJ, Scotty, all of our girlfriends at the time. So yeah, I thought you were talking about the earlier shit. It's like, no, I had an apartment in Bellevue when I was like on the show in Washington. How did the aftermath of the acid show go? 291. You got me, bro. I'm gonna I wish I had a better fucking story about it for you, but I don't remember much about that show, dude. I was frying balls on that show. Frying balls out. I do not remember much of what happened. Somebody else but everybody was frying balls. Someone asked what Milo was like behind the scenes. Chill dude, funny, snarky, gay. He was a lot like he was, but just I think with a little bit more of a wry smile than he would normally do. I don't know. I had a good experience with Milo as a person and as a podcaster or whatever the fuck. Like I remember he and I were playfully kind of throwing barbs at each other in the private chat prior to the stream starting. I don't remember what we were using to bring him in, but I think it was Skype. And we were just talking in the chat for the Skype call. And, he was like, "Are you gay or something?" I was like, "No." At that time, I wasn't out as bi. And he was like, "Because I sense you want to fuck me." And I was like, "I bet you sense that about everybody, huh?" And he was like, "Why wouldn't I?" Like he's just like, I just thought it was funny. Just kind of like the little backs and forths and shit that we had. So yeah, my personal experience with the dude was not bad. You remember much of your first acid trip with the guys in Ohio? Yeah, I remember that. That was a memorable one. And when you mean the guys, I assume you mean the acid trip with Ben and TJ. Yeah. And that was a heavy dose night. I don't quote me on this, but I want to say we all took 2 tabs that night, which for me that's my max dose. That's as hard as I like to fry usually, and even then, 2 tab. I've taken 2 tabs before and had it be a little much. So 2 tabs. I was frying balls. Ben Ben's acid trip was an interesting one that night. I think it reflected his inner feelings for me. I think that he didn't like me very much, and he wanted to make me really uncomfortable and squirm like he did on the show. When TJ did that shit to me on the show, I feel like it came from a place of him knowing my background as a performer and my ability to improv and stuff, and he wanted to make a bit out of it. I think Ben wanted to use the show as a way to be sadistic to me sometimes. And I think it came out during that acid trip. He decided that he was going to make my acid trip the fucking shittiest thing ever. Now, keep in mind, at this point, I'm in my mid 30s, and a dude is fucking with me on an acid trip like I'm 16. And I dropped. In fact, I got to be honest with you. When I was 16, I didn't. Anyway, I didn't have my friend. My friends were chiller than that. When I fried at 16, I didn't have friends that were gonna keep fucking with you. But he decided he was gonna try and make me have a bad acid trip. It didn't work, but I remember him being very central and malicious that night in terms of how my mind perceived it. And I remember him being like a goblin-like figure in my mind. I also remember TJ had this kind of portrait of Marilyn Manson in his bedroom. It looked like a painting, but I think it was just a poster that he had framed, a smaller poster. And I remember looking at that poster and it was talking to me, man, but I couldn't hear a word it was saying. Its mouth was just running. Just like the weirdest shit, dude. It's like nothing else on the picture was moving. His eyes weren't darting around and shit, but his mouth was just, it looked like he was fucking singing as fast as he could or talking as fast as he could, but I could not make out what he was saying. It looked like gibberish to me when I tried to read the lips. At some point in the night later that night, the fucking the munchkin shit happened, and that was a fucking crazy trip for me, bro. I think the munchkin no, you know what? The munchkin shit was just me when I tripped with just TJ. Well, it was me, TJ, and Ashley that tripped that night. And I don't even think Ashley tripped. I don't think she was comfortable trying it yet, but she was fine, being around. I think she was there to kind of babysit a little bit, maybe too. And yeah, TJ fucked with me on that acid trip too, to be honest with you. He decided he was going to channel a little fucking impish glee in making me suffer, and started he pulled up these videos because he knew I didn't like watching like people get hurt. Like, so you know those compilations of dudes like falling out, like trying to grind a rail down like a 12-stair rail that's hella steep, and they fall and break their ankle, and you can see the bone pop out or whatever. There's compilations of this shit all over the internet, all over YouTube, honestly, which is fucking crazy. But TJ went and found one of those and put it on, knowing that I didn't like it, and he made me watch it. He didn't make me watch it, but he's like, "You will watch this, Paul. You will face your fear, face your discomfort." And I was like, "No." And then he pulled it up, and I'd watched a couple of bones break, and I was sitting next to Ashley, and I was like, kind of grabbed onto her arm, like watching this, and unthinkingly, like I didn't even realize I had done it, but I like had both my hands like around her bicep and the back of her arm, just kind of like gripping her arm, sitting next to her, and something happened on the thing, and she went, "Ow!" And I was like, "What?" She goes, "Motherfucker!" And she pulled her sleeve up, and there were like 4 bruises already forming that were shaped like my fingernails. And I was like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." So I felt awful about that. So that brought the trip down. She was fine. I mean, she understood, I think, but you got to understand about me, dude. I never want to hurt a person. I'm klutzy, and I can blunder into people or step on their feet, and I fucking feel bad. And so I felt so bad that I'd hurt her, physically like that. And then being with a head full of acid, that's just not a trip you want to take. But it was fun still. It was a good night. I think I experienced true ego death for the first time that night. Like genuine, honest to goodness ego death. Well, feel like I'm tripping just listening to this. I mean, have you ever heard somebody tell an acid story that you're like, "Yeah, tell me another one, chief"? Like I really feel like when people tell acid stories, I can go, as a dude that's done a bunch of acid, I can go like, "Yep, this is an acid trip." But there's a bunch. There's even some online that I've found where I'll be like, I'll just get clickbaited into it. I haven't seen one in a while, but I have run into them on YouTube. I'll just get like recommended like craziest acid trip, and I'm like, okay, and I'll check it out. And it's some fucking Zoomer talking about some shit that definitely happened, quote unquote. Yeah, that night I had to go to the bathroom. And have you ever heard of the acid shits? This is a well-known phenomenon or whatever. Uh the acid can be like a diuretic. It can stimulate your bowels a little bit. It stimulates more than your bowels, but it can make you shit. And I had the acid shits that night. And I went into TJ's. TJ had this weird little closet bathroom. It was like just a toilet with a sink and a mirror. And the sink and the mirror were literally directly across from the toilet. So when you were sitting there, you could look right into your own eyes as you were shitting. And I had a head full of acid, and I was peeking, but I had to shit real bad. So I went in there and looked into my own eyes, and I had the revelation, man. I had the withered old man. So what happened was I was looking at my face, and before my eyes, it started to age. I got crow's feet. My hair was flecked with gray, and my beard was flecked with gray, and then it got wider and wider, and my eyes had huge dark circles, and my hair turned like yellow, not like silver, but it just like yellowed, and my skin didn't look good, and I just looked old and angry. And then, all of a sudden my face was normal again. I was looking into my eyes still. I'd never broken eye contact with myself. So all this happened kind of in the periphery that happens around, which is something about acid as well. If you're fixated on something on acid, oftentimes it's not that thing that's trippy. It's the shit in your periphery that turns into fucking, you know what I mean? So that was going on. And then I saw it happening again. I started to get old, but this time in a different way, like dignified almost. My hair was long, my beard was long. It went salt and pepper, and then it went kind of like white silver, and my eyes had crow's feet from like laughter. The black circles were gone, my cheeks were full, I had a smile on my face, and I immediately understood what it was. It was my future. No, I don't really think it was my future, but in the acid trip, this was a picture of two possible futures for my life. Will you be a curmudgeonly piece of shit that's eaten alive by your own negativity and self hatred, dies alone, or will you be the wise king? It was a cool trip. I can pick up ego death from the most benign substances. Cool. Dare I say you saw different roads in the multiverse? Possibly. Possibly saw a little glimpse of the fourth dimension that night, where time exists as not just a collection of moments, but a stretching snake of matter that's constantly flowing back and forth. It's funny because so many people think of you as a bitter curmudgeon. Nobody thinks that more than me. You know, did it foretell the horse Vosh arc? No, it did not, unfortunately. And if you like try and fucking drama frog about horses anymore tonight, I'm gonna ban you. I'm dishing about fucking behind the scenes DP shit tonight. Okay, that's what tonight is about. That's what we're gonna do for the rest of the night. However long you guys have interesting questions that fit the parameters, I'm gonna tell the stories. And that's all there is to it. So about 5 minutes. Yeah, that's probably true, Johnny. So, if I I know I missed a bunch of questions because I take forever to answer a question. So repost away. Did you enjoy Pissgate or was it the other guy's idea? Already talked about that. Already talked about Pissgate. What was the atmosphere like before the DP breakup? Before it? So what are you talking about? In the days approaching it? I mean, for me, the atmosphere was always pretty fucking spotty because Ben did not like me at all. But I do remember that in those days, it wasn't right when the breakup happened, but it was near it. Ben invited me out. He was like, "Hey, dude, you want to come out?" I was like, "Oh yeah, where are you guys going?" He was like, "No, I was just gonna go myself. I'm gonna go to a P-Lander Z concert, and I was gonna go get some bratwurst, some beer." And I was like, "Yeah, dude." And he was like, "Yeah, come along." And we had a great day together. I don't know what it was about. Maybe he was trying to turn over a leaf with me or something. But yeah, he took me out to lunch. We had brats, we had beer. We went to a venue called the Fun House that we ended up doing the DP meetup in and saw P-Lander Z, which was kick ass. No, I did not secretly want to try Dusty's VR set. Nobody did. Did you guys hold hands? Yeah, we hold hands. We kissed with no tongues, and he felt me up over the bra, but under the shirt. Like honestly, Amarius, you're about to be banned, dude. Last warning. I don't want to sit. I'm not going to sit here and shit talk current DP or the host. Really, I'm talking about stories that happened from my perspective surrounding DP. We're not going to sit here and fucking give you what you want clearly, which is for me to just like all right, I'm going nuclear on fucking Ben or whatever. I don't have any desire to do that. So, last warning, because you've done it a couple of times now. The mods are watching now. Trust me. My mods are few but loyal. My specters. Dude, learn when to stop arguing, homeboy. Just move on. I can't stop picturing Dusty with a giant VR set. Bro, it was like a cartoon, man. We didn't know what to do. He had a giant tower PC with the fucking monitor and the whole rig, dude. And he was like, just need you guys' help getting this up. And we had like a fucking 2-story walk up. We were like, nah, no thanks. Do you remember that crazy fundamentalist Christian Joseph Martelli that tried to come to your meetup? Yes. Yes, I do. I think we talked about Martelli recently, though. At least I feel like I did. Maybe I didn't. He was on Discord. Yes, I remember Joseph Martelli. Really the creepiest fan interaction that I've had yet. He was a true stalker, ended up posting pictures of the building I lived in, the door that I used to come and go, my girlfriend used to come and go from work and, whatever, where I'd walk dino out to shit, like it was out there, like stalking around and shit. He was just a fucking weirdo, man. And yeah, he got my address from Brett Keane because I firmly believe to this day that Brett Keane knew somebody with Lexus Lookup and was using that to find fucking traces of people's past residency and current residency and shit. And but it's known that Joseph Martelli got my address from Brett Keane. So had he killed me, Brett Keane would have probably fucking celebrated. Which is why I don't have any sympathy for Brett Keane and never will. He would have been fine if the fucking nut job psycho unstable dude who was talking about killing everybody and posting pictures of guns and shit. He gave that dude my home address. Like there's really there's no redeeming that. How's it known? There was a whole conversation between him and Joseph Martelli that Joseph leaked to show some other thing, but it had a conversation with him and Brett where he was like, it didn't, he had it cut off to where it didn't show, but Brett was like, that's the address. And he was like, yeah, look, Joseph was like, yeah, looking at it now on Google Maps or whatever. It was like, I guess I can't say it was fucking 100% proven, but come on, man. How much smoke do you have to see before you just say, there's probably a fire? Yes, he hates me. He hates all of us. Brett Keane is fucking vendetta. The only thing that makes Brett Keane not dangerous is that he's too stupid to ever pull anything off and too broke. Like honestly. No, you know what? It was Pormjorm. I misremembered that. It was Pormjorm. Pormjorm leaked a bunch of you remember this, guys? Dude, I've forgotten about Pormjorm for a minute. Pormjorm leaked a bunch of DMs with Brett. Like Pormjorm snaked Brett, turned on him, and leaked a bunch of DMs where he talked about how he wanted to destroy the fucking drunken peasants. Yeah, Palm Jam. Yeah, dude. Pormjorm. Gormjorb. Yeah, the poem. He didn't release them all though, but he claimed he was going to, and then he never gave them. But in those leaks were evidence that he was trying to drop my fucking docs to Martelli, how he was teaming up with fake Sagan to try and take down TJ. Check out my Garmin channel, Games Love in the situation. Is Dorn a nice lady? No, she's a raggy bitch, dude. She's got no sense of humor. The only time she ever talked to me was to fucking try and give me an order. And I told her like to chill the fuck out, that I wasn't her fucking captive husband or whatever. And she wasn't going to talk to me that way. She was mad because I kept calling her Dorn. And she was like, my name is not Dorn. Don't call me Dorn. My name is Dawn. I was like, don't tell me what to do, Dorn. I ain't your little pussy whipped husband over there, dude. Don't give me that shit. Maybe because that's not her name. Oh my God. Maybe just fucking roll with the punches, Omar. Who are you, bro? You're on my radar, Omar, and you're now on the Spectre's radar. I've just put out a fucking APB to watch you. You need to get your shit in order, homie. I'm just warning. Bleep bloop. You're on the radar too, Moop 69. I ain't never seen you in my fucking life, and you've been in here tonight being a little fucking borderline. Enemy UAV spotted. Helicopter available. Attack dogs available. Yeah, I liked living in Seattle. Is that all you guys got? I'm assuming that's all you guys got. If you're just gonna fucking, I'll just call it Last Chance Saloon. Burning questions on your mind. And don't bring it up next episode of this either. This is not an every show thing. This is tonight, so. Did TJ fist you? No, don't be retarded. No, I didn't want to live with G-Time Johnny. Was meeting the Kirks like? It was fun. I've told the story a bunch of times. Like, shook Scotty's hand, shook TJ's hand, got a big hug, realized for the first time how fucking huge TJ was. We went to like some teriyaki joint or something and had lunch. TJ just like walked up behind me and threw his arm around me and took a selfie with me and him. I think you still see it. It's a pretty popular picture. Me in my glasses with the bald head and him standing over me with his tongue out. We went back to their pad, which incidentally is the pad where the chick from fucking Poltergeist was killed by her abusive boyfriend out there in West Hollywood. We stayed in that murder house, or they were. I was staying in a Hotel 6 with Ashley and Beyond Fear. And we all went over there. Me and TJ had the lemon tree conversation, which was basically a running fucking like almost 12-hour straight conversation where we sat and got to know each other. And it was a fun conversation. And then that was it. That was meeting the guys. Scotty was pissed off that night because he got pizza that he didn't want or something. And he went to bed. I think he got pretty high too. So he went to bed and Ben kind of went to bed and it was just me and Ashley and TJ for a while, and Pimp Monk passed out. So it was Pimp Monk too. Yeah. Paul, who's on top? You or TJ? Neither one of us is on top. We only fuck standing up. What kind of philosophical questions did you and TJ talk about? I mean, like the whole gamut, like getting to know different people is a different conversation, right? And I can't recreate a 12-hour conversation for you and give you bullet points on it. I mean, we talked about our philosophy as creatives. We talked about our influences. We talked, like the type of stuff you would expect two creative dudes that get together and meet each other and like each other would talk about. Our viewpoints on life. We told each other stories of our upbringings and our pasts, taste of music and movies. We had a long movie conversation in there. drugs, like the whole nine. It was just the getting to know you in fast forward conversation. And we, ended up hitting it off pretty fucking well. I don't, 12-hour fucking straight conversation is, I've had them, but I haven't had many of them in my life. This point, is DP a good memory or more of a bittersweet one? Totally bittersweet, but in a good way, I guess. I mean, I was good. It was the best of times. It was the worst of times, One of the best memories of life is meeting you guys at the LA meetup for DP and the first DFF. I got hugs from both you and TJ. Gave me a compliment about looking young for my age. Good times, dude. Cool. I think I might remember you. Would you like a blonde headed twink, dude? Like kind of a shorter blonde headed twinky looking guy. I think I might even fucking remember you. Or did I just make up a blonde headed twink in my head? Is it fair to say you and Scotty aren't as close as you and TJ? Yeah, I think that'd probably be fair to say. I think Scotty would probably agree with that. I mean, Scotty and I are close, but we never really established a super strong friendship or anything. But I would say that time has done that for us. I think we got a strong friendship now, but I would say we're probably not as close to Scotty as I am to TJ, just in terms of time that I've spent with the guys outside of content creation. Nah, bald in a long black coat. Okay, yeah. Well, that sounds like everybody. Long black coat doesn't help me. It's a DP meetup. It looks like the fucking trench coat mafia. Why does Scotty hate Ryby so much? Don't ask me what Scott. Why? I don't know. Ask Scotty. I couldn't hope to answer for him on that. Can't remember too much weed. Were you on the Euro trip? No, that was right around the time I got hired, but I was not hired yet. So it was right before the LA meetup or a couple of weeks. So yeah, no, I was living in Texas at the time. Columbine chic, yeah. Seems on the show that you and Scotty are closer. I mean, we are close. We've worked together for fucking a decade now, close to. So we're close. We should seem close because we are close. We know each other. We've vacationed together. We chill together. We talk together. We do a show together. But if you put a gun to my head and said, which relationship do you think is a closer friendship? I'd probably say TJ. Spent more time with TJ than I have Scotty. My coat is a replica of the one from the Highlander TV show. Oh. What did you think of Ryby? I'm going to be fucking completely honest with you, dude. And this is not a dig at Ryby. I don't really remember her much. And that's true of a lot of the guests that we had on, even some that we had on multiple times. There were just some people that, I would do my best to play off of and be present for, but it just never really hit it off. And I do not remember Ribeye, hardly at all. Were guests paid? No, Brett Keane was paid, but that was all pretty out in the open. As far as them paying guests, I don't believe so, but I wouldn't know. Remember, I was a contractor. I was not a business person. I didn't have access to any bank accounts, and I wasn't looped in on those meetings. So, yeah, I don't know. Ultimately, I don't know. I don't think I would say if I, had to speculate, I would say no. Outside of the ones that are known on the show, like Brett Keane, getting paid $1,000 or whatever to show his gums or whatever it was. In the early days of DP, back when you were in your old marriage, did you think that you would be? No, dude, no, not at all. I was just having fun with it at that point. Did you and TJ make out? We kissed on a show, but that's it. Yeah, we've never like done anything off camera or whatever. Were you paid before you were hired? Yes. So I was a Friday episode guy, and I was paid a pretty nominal appearance fee. But it was not much. So there was a time where I was, like they didn't want to bring me on full time, but they wanted to try me out. So they got me on for Fridays. I would do story time. And yeah, I was paid so long as they wanted to keep doing it, I was paid a nominal appearance fee for that. I don't remember what it was. I think it was might have been like $200 or $300 maybe an appearance. That might be about it. Gorm Jorb. Do you like Jeff Holiday as a frequent guest? Another dude that I don't remember much about, to be quite honest with you. So, I'm not the shit talk guy, but I don't remember much of his appearances and stuff. So, can't think of anything negative to say about him, but I can't think of anything positive either. Like, I don't know what you want me to do. Another NPC. Yeah. Yeah. As far as I know, it was Ben's idea to bring you in full time. Why do you think he did that if he disliked you? No, it was Ben's idea to have me on the show as a guest the first time. It was not Ben's idea. In fact, Ben, to be honest with you, fought it pretty fucking hard. Did not want to do it. I put my getting hired full time off on TJ way more than Ben. Ben did not want that. I remember Paul's interactions with Jim Ass. Yeah, Jim Ass was fun. Clarify, what was the general political atmosphere of DP? I mean, isn't that apparent from the show? Dirtbag left. Edgy left. That's how I would describe it. I don't know. Paul the aristocrat, to remember every no-name surf who was given audience is too much. No, it's just not. It's just true. I did hundreds of episodes of that show, literal hundreds, and I did most of them ripped, stoned, drunk, on acid a lot of the times, mushrooms a few times. I don't have a perfect memory of all that shit, and I don't really go back and watch the old shows. I just recently started to get to the place where I feel like, I could watch an old DP and see what's what. It was just kind of painful before. Like before I was on the show, so there's really no point. I lived it, and I know what happened on the show. And then after the show, after I left the show, I've just kind of been like, man, I don't really want to, I need to move forward. And I'm not going to move forward if I'm just sitting here getting misty eyed looking at the past. So I've just recently maybe gotten to the point in my life where I can like look at that and just be like, oh, that was a cool point. There's distance now, Dirty, edgy left. Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. Blue comedy left. Were you ever disturbed by any of the people you feuded with or covered on DP? Only Joseph Martelli, and only when he was being a fucking creepy stalker. First time I did mushrooms was on Halloween watching y'all's acid live. That was crazy. Yeah. Still watch the compilations of Brett on DP and you doing the voice still makes me almost cry laughing. All right, that's cool. That's not a question though. All right, I think you guys are probably fucking worn out. What do you think of letting patrons pay to be on the show? That horrible idea. Horrible fucking idea. It's a nightmare. I will never do it again. I'm not trying to be mean, but it was just. If you were a part or full owner of DP, would you have done anything differently? Probably a lot of things. Honestly, yeah. As you might imagine, you would. If you were owner of DP, you probably would have done it differently too. Would you do it all again, Paul? I'm going to Disneyland. Yeah, I'd do it all again. It was a fucking roller coaster of a time, man. I'm at a point now where I still feel the sting, but in 10, 15 years, I'll probably go like, man, what a roller coaster that was. Flap my old toothless gums, remembering the good old days. You know? Them there was some crazy times. You kids wouldn't even believe the DP days, the things I seen, the things I done. Did you speak to Jake Tapper? Only on Twitter. I tweeted him and he fucking responded to me, and then I fucking shat on him again and ratioed him. But he issued a retraction. So there you go. He came to me with one of those sorry butts, because I was just like, I remember my tweet. You can look it up. It's still up, my Twitter. But to my memory, it was something like, thanks a lot to @Jake Tapper for calling us an alt-right podcast on his show that millions of people watch every week. We're leftists, dipshit, or something like that. And then he got back, like he fucking tweeted back at me. He quote tweeted me and was like, yeah, dude, sorry about that, but I wasn't even on the show that day. It was one of those like, yeah, honestly, if that's true, sorry to do that, but I wasn't even on the show. And I quote tweeted him again, and I was like, you weren't on the show, but isn't the show called Tapper? Isn't it called like Tapper Now or whatever? Like, your name's on it. Don't you have any editorial discretion over what goes out with your name plastered all over it? He didn't respond to me, but he did issue a retraction on the next show. Ratioed. Yeah, he tapped out. Paul, why did you finger my sister at the Albuquerque meetup? Dude, to be frank, everybody was, finger banging your sister at that. I was hardly the only one. No, I never did anything to your sister, sir. Just finger it out. What is wrong with you people? All right, I'm out of here. Questions have slowed to a trickle. Your creativity tap has run low. I sit here willing to answer questions, but none come across. Yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys later. Bye.